Despite being on sale for almost 20 years, you could be forgiven for thinking that the saloon-shaped Octavia is more of a rival for the Ford Mondeo or Vauxhall Insignia. In reality though, it's more of a competitor to the Volkswagen Golf or Ford Focus. This is the third generation of Octavia now, and it still brings all of the same qualities to the table. It's a big car with Volkswagen Group build quality and low running costs for not very much money. Whichever engine you opt for does a good job of hauling the Octavia around. Even the 1.2 litre petrol is so good that it means that you don't need to go for the more powerful 1.4 or 1.8 litre, particularly as the latter is only available in more expensive trims. The same thing applies on the diesel side, with the 1.6 litre performing sufficiently well. The Green Line badged version has a 6-speed gearbox that makes for a better experience, and the 148 brake horsepower 2 litre diesel is also available. If you like a bit more performance, there's the VRS models with 2 litre diesel and petrol engines. Both are effortlessly quick. The payoff for the VRS pace is a diminished ride quality. Stiffer suspension and larger alloy wheels make for a harder ride, something you don't get in a standard Octavia. The ordinary cars are rarely uncomfortable, if a little prone to patter on rippled urban surfaces. They're best at motorway speeds, settling into a pleasant long-distance cruiser. You shouldn't avoid the bigger wheels if you want to keep that character. By and large, the Octavia is not an exciting driving machine. It offers exactly what a family car should have, and a little more. It's stable and precise at speed, with light steering for easy urban manoeuvres. Models with variable driving modes, anything other than S specification or the 1.2 litre petrol, should be left in normal, with sport mode merely making the car feel heavier. The VRS models offer a little more driving fun with decent body control and a good dose of available grip, particularly on the optional 4-wheel drive diesel VRS, but they're not up with the top tiers of hot hatches. It can be relatively noisy compared to its rivals. The suspension noise, especially in urban environments, can be a little booming, and there is some wind noise on the motorway. Diesel cars are quite vocal when compared to the same units used elsewhere in the Volkswagen Group, but the petrol engines are quite smooth and quiet. There's a broad range of adjustment for the steering wheel and the seat, even on entry-level models, but if you opt for the SE trim, you get lumbar support as standard, which improves matters considerably. You can go for the powered seats on the Lauren and Clement top-spec car, but the manual versions are more than adequate, and the seats throughout the range are supportive and comfortable. The dash is a straightforward affair, and as you'd expect, everything is clearly labelled and sensibly located, so it's perfectly good day to day. This 6.5-inch colour touchscreen is standard across the range, and it's used to control all of the subsystems. There's a digital radio, CD player, USB connection and Bluetooth. Sat-nav is added at SEL, optional on the SE, and you can upgrade to a system with an integrated Wi-Fi, though it is a bit costly. Generally, the touchscreen is logical and the icons are sufficiently large, but it's a little slow to respond. Forward visibility is good, and there's a clear view rarely obscured by these windscreen pillars, and the front end of the car is also easy to judge. However, the rear pillars are a bit chunky, so over-the-shoulder visibility is much poorer, and it can be hard to judge where the back end is parking. Rear sensors are standard from SE spec and above, with an optional camera on all but the S model. You do get Volkswagen Group build quality on the Octavia, so it's all very well screwed together, but there's some evidence of cost taking priority over materials in lower parts of the cabin. Materials elsewhere are more pleasant to touch and the switches are well damped, but it's not an especially upmarket feel. Entry grade S models are a bit dour, but the contrasting trim highlights available on the SE model and above improve matters somewhat. The Octavia excels at interior space. The front seats are suitable for even very tall drivers, and the rear seats are the best of any car in its class. Even a long-legged rear seat passenger will find plenty of space behind a tall driver. Open that centre seat back and there's plenty of space for all proportions with good head, leg and elbow room. Whoever's sitting in the middle seat will have to deal with this high transmission tunnel, but the footwells are quite large, so there's plenty of room in here for 3 people to sit comfortably. Storage space is better than most rivals too, with big door pockets capable of holding a 750ml bottle in the front, a 1 litre bottle in the back and a good sized practical glove box. Alongside cup holders, there's plenty of spaces for storing phones. The boot is vast too, with a host of neat storage tricks like this area under the boot floor. The back seats only have a 60-40 split though and have to be released from the side door, and they don't fold flat either, so there's an inconvenient step in the floor. There isn't a variable boot floor option to solve this either, as there is in the estate version. The Skoda Octavia is remarkably cheap. Even the entry-level 1.2 litre version is extremely competitive, and it's going to be difficult to find a car of this size for similar money. Running costs are generally low also, with the Green Line 1.6 litre diesel netting 61.9 miles per gallon in our real-world economy tests. But even the petrol engines are impressive. Skodas do not depreciate particularly rapidly either, so resale values are good, if not quite up to the levels of more prestige motors. Equipment levels aren't stingy either, with aircon, alloy wheels and DAB right from the lowest S-grade cars. However tempting the entry-level car is though, it misses out on all the most desirable options. SE cars gain rear parking sensors, dual zone climate and rear electric windows, and a more complete options list. The Lauren and Clement models at the top of the range are just a bit too pricey though. Octavias traditionally place well in our customer satisfaction research, coming in towards the top of the class, so there should be few reliability worries. All models get 7 airbags as standard and additional rear side airbags as an optional extra. Forward collision avoidance is only standard on the SEL model and above, but the Octavia still nets a full 5 stars at Euro NCAP. Still, the Octavia has 1 or 2 weak spots. It's not especially good looking, and there's a somewhat basic air to lower spec models. However, it's otherwise tough to fault. It's absolutely vast on the inside, has a classy interior and comes with plenty of standard kit. It's also remarkably cheap to buy and run. No wonder it's our favourite family car. To find out more, search for the Skoda Octavia on whatcar.com, and to stay up to date with all our latest video reviews, click subscribe.